so you can see. There we go. Alright, this is very boring. I get why people don't listen to the trade radio. That's so boring. Yeah, guys, so basically, just sort of stream now, just going over the last hour and a half, basically, of the trade period. We'll be finishing in 1 hour and 27 minutes exactly, so for people in Adelaide, this will be finishing at 7 o'clock. For people in Melbourne, it's 7:30, I believe, same as Sydney and then other states. Just look on the world clock, alright? On your phone, on your iPhone, or your Android. I don't know if Android has it. I'm assuming it does. But yeah, basically that's what's happened so far, guys. Last trade, as you can see on screen right now, is the Asava Radikalea trade. Port Adelaide obviously picked up him. Geelong got pick 25, 76, and pick 94. Like you said before we started, why did they wait this long to then pick up 76 and 94?
They won't use them, so it seems pretty pointless to me. So
yeah, I get it's for like points or whatever, but fucking hell, who cares?
What do you do?
If I was Port, I would have just made him wait to the
Pretty much
off season, because he would have been delisted. But yeah, free agency or sorry, the end of the period and maybe into the draft. I think you have to still negotiate a contract with the player when they go to the draft, don't you? Or do you just pick them up and hopefully they don't leave? I don't know how it works, but yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it would work anyway. There's another trade done. So Carlton have secured the operation of, that was a terrible way to say, but Elijah Hollands has moved to Carlton, and Gold Coast got picked 26 for that. It's actually a really good win for Carlton, I think, because this guy was in the top 10 pick a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
and now they've picked him up for pretty cheap, really. So it's basically they got Elijah Hollands and pick 28 for pick 26.
Yeah. And a future third. Yeah,
a future fourth, basically, for a future third. That's a Gold Coast win. That's a Carlton win, in my opinion.
Yeah. As long as he can get on the field.
He did show some signs in the first couple of years of his career, so I think that'd be a good one for Carlton.
Yeah.
Yes, Pharaoh. There you go. So on screen right now is the latest trade. We have Carlton have picked up young gun for the Gold Coast Suns, Elijah Hollands, and the Gold Coast picked up pick 26. That's basically the trade. A couple of other picks going each way, but that's basically the gist of it. That was on 26 minutes ago, so I did miss that one, but anyway. Trade talk. Indication of a mid. So it looks like they've had some news that chief executive, basically the leader now of the AFL, Andrew Dillon, has given a strong indication that the mid-season draft trade period will be coming. We've got an agreement from the players to look at a pre-season trading period. What we'll do over the next few months is look at a mid-season trade period as well. Can we get that up, and what are the parameters? I don't know. They're going to have to do it. I think it's even money. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a very slippery slope to go down if the AFL do this.
Yeah. So, pick 76 was last used. So this is just talking about the Radikalea trade. The last time pick 76 was used was back in 2018 when Port drafted Boyd Woodcock. While 94 is not being used in the draft for a player this century, instead being used only to elevate rookies.
So, seems pointless. It just seems pointless to why it took so long for that trade for the Radikalea one to get done. It just seems really stupid in my opinion. But
yeah, I don't know what it took so long for that anyway. But anyway, it looks like another trade's going to be done pretty soon. I think I mentioned it just before we started. Brisbane, Hawthorn and Gold Coast will be in a three-way trade. Brendan Ryan, who's a young tall player for Hawthorn, young forward, looks like he's going to be going to the Lions. Jack Gunston will get his way to the Hawks, back to the Hawks. And Rabior Cho will find his way to the Hawks as well in this trade. So the fine-tuning, the fine print of it will be coming out shortly, but that's basically that trade all done. Pop it out, there we go.
Yeah.
Do you follow any of those guys on Twitter or anything?
What? Like Cartoony and shit stuff?
Yeah.
I don't really know. AFL House is pretty much where you get all the paperwork lodged. So pretty much if I'm just going to follow that.
Okay, fair
So when they're lodged, as the seconds happen.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
So you get it right here.
Get it right here. That's all the trades for now, anyway. Three-way trade. Yeah, so that's this one here. That's probably the latest one that's going to happen. That'll be coming through shortly. They've also got the AFL. If you are looking to watch it, you can watch the Deadline Day trade radio or trade news thing on the AFL website. They will be basically, you'll be seeing the list managers or whoever, the trade people going to the desk and like making the trades officially. But we'll be going through it pretty well live here as well. So yeah, still got just under 2.5 hours, an hour and a half to go. So 7 o'clock it will be lodged. I think they are allowed to do a couple of trades after the period, but basically they have to be ready to go and have to be told that they're basically done. They're just waiting to get in the door, as we've seen. I've never actually seen that happen. I know it's been told that can happen, but at this stage I've never seen it, to be honest. So we'll quickly bring up a thing here because it says like what trades still need to be done. So I notice this guy does it. So which one is it? Which one? There it is. All right. So still to go. We still have the Xavier Dersma trade to be done. Brendan Zerk-Thatcher.
D'Ambrosio.
That
won't happen actually. You hear the news about that today?
Well, that it won't happen.
Yeah,
he's going
to go straight, walk into the preseason.
The
unrestricted,
delisted free agency.
Yeah, delisted free agency.
That would be pretty easy.
Because Essendon fucked up really badly.
Yeah, I heard about that. And Fantasia, probably the other one to be done. To be honest, there's not really many more to go.
Yeah.
There's only the Dersma Zerk-Thatcher one, D'Ambrosio, but that's not going to happen now, and the Erasio Fantasia one.
Hasn't been much news about Fantasia's deal today, or a lot through the last couple of days. There hasn't been much talk about it. So,
and the Jack Billings one as well. Jack Billings has still got to go.
But if anyone wants to take his shit,
they've been saying all day that he's going to be going to Melbourne, so I'm assuming that's the case, but we haven't seen a lot of it yet. But basically, guys, it hasn't been officially done yet, but the three-way trade between Brisbane, Hawthorn, Gold Coast is coming. Brendan Ryan will be going to the Lions. Jack Gunston will be going to the Hawks. And Mabior Chol getting to Hawthorn. That's basically the trade we're waiting for at the moment. Oh, God.
It's more of a waiting game at the moment.
Yeah, there's not really many more to go, to be honest. Yeah, this is an hour and 20 minutes basically now for the trade. Yeah, there's not really a lot more to go. It's basically Jack Billings at this stage. Zerk-Thatcher in the Xavier Dersma trade. And Xavier Dersma doesn't exactly... There's been a lot of talk as well that trade may not go through because Port Adelaide want more than just a straight swap for Zerk-Thatcher because Dersma is still contracted till next year. So it'll be interesting if Port Adelaide do hold because I don't think Xavier Dersma exactly want... It's not that he doesn't want to leave, but I don't think he's like begging to leave. Let's just put it that way. Because I think it was at the point when Port Adelaide told him like, we're not going to be able to get you to be in the first midfield this year.
Yeah.
So I think that's why he's basically been sitting there waiting. And then he's like, next year he's not going to be in the first midfield. So AFL.com.au reported Cats have rejected pick 25 only, with the two late picks getting the trade over the line. On the surface it appears like a strange sweetener in the deal, given his picks are late and the draft and rarely get used. Mackey believes those picks will jump up several spots with the other clubs' late bids to be wiped out when they choose to match bids. Gold Coast, for example, currently hold 11 picks in total, which will need to match their bids for academy prospects, while the Bulldogs will have a total of 10 picks as they look to match a bid for a father-son prospect in Jordan Croft. You're not going down to pick 50, though. I'm just going to be honest. You can mention all those sort of things you want, but it's nothing in that trade. There's not nothing in the trade, but there's not much that they're going to be doing for it. That's just my opinion anyway. I don't know why they waited that long for it. So basically, also, I've heard Petty won't be going. That's pretty obvious. Not surprised by that. He didn't. They were saying that he didn't rule out that he's not going to leave in the next couple of years. I'm surprised that he hasn't requested a trade after the money that they've been saying could possibly be going for him.
Yeah,
I was very surprised.
So as of 5 minutes ago, Jack Billings is set to be traded to Melbourne for a future third round.
Cool. All right.
According to Ben Cotton. So
Ben Cotton, the guy from the Dodgeball movie. I gotta agree with you, Cotton. If anyone's ever seen that movie, they would get that reference. I think it's Ben Cotton. I know his last name's Cotton. Does anyone... It was Cotton, I know that. I gotta agree with you there, Cotton. Oh! Okay. God, that was
what the fuck?
So, did you hear about Daniel McStay being caught up in drama or whatever?
Yes, I did.
Apparently that's what it was. Okay, I didn't know that was the reason, but anyway, and I think Ginnivan was the one taking the video.
You'd fucking overwatch. That just seems even weirder.
If you're under 18, do not look
maybe
that
that's
up on
another,
Twitter.
maybe that's another reason he's left.
Yeah. I think actually Collingwood came out and said that that's not Daniel McStay anyway, but who knows? Actually, that's what I can do. I'm waiting.
It's just a little waiting.
Just have to wait for this point.
To be honest, I don't know why Melbourne would pick him up anyway. Jack Billings
Well,
just...
The reason why I think they're going to pick him up is because Melbourne have obviously let go a few midfielders like for depth, like James Jordan, James Harms, also Luke Dunstan actually retired. So it looks like they're going to be picking up for more depth. I just don't know if he's going to be getting into his first team. You know, him. I think it is pretty funny though that from St Kilda, he's basically joining a team where he could potentially win a premiership next year. I think that is pretty funny. But you know, if injuries go their way, they could potentially pick up a guy who's gone from a club who I don't think was going to win a premiership to giving himself every single chance.
Yeah.
But that's basically a free give, really. Jack Billings for Melbourne's future third round. That's not really that much.
I don't know.
So they basically just gave him away for free.
Pretty much.
That's basically the next.
It seemed like that's what they were going to do anyway. The way that St Kilda were talking about it.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, you can go. We'll pay for it, bro. Just go. Get out of here. We don't love you anymore anyway. So get the fuck out. All right. Jay Gresham is eager to play in bigger crowds after moving from SMU. Good on you, bro.
You won't play finals though.
Yeah, you'll be standing in front of 100,000 at the MCG on Anzac Day getting beaten by Collingwood. Good on you. I have to go through because you can't really do like. Can you go by team? You can kind of go by team.
Not really.
No, that's kind of departures though. That's not getting, is it? Yeah, he's bringing in. Oh, no, there's not. They're all just boring out. Fuck. Alright. They used to have a thing where you could, like, look up every single team's picks. Oh, cool. That's good, though.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Trade. Fuck you. Alright.
Let's go back.
So yeah, that trade hasn't been officially done yet, but that will be going through pretty shortly. Still about an hour and 15 minutes to go in this year's trade period. Last trade you can see on screen, which is Elijah Hollands. At this stage, we've talked about a three-way trade between Brisbane, Hawthorn and Gold Coast going ahead, with Brandon Ryan going to the Hawks. To the Lions, Jack Dunstan to the Hawks, and maybe a child of the Hawks as well. Looks like the Gold Coast probably just be getting picks at this stage. That's basically the next trade. Jack Billings looks like as well.
As we got the news that Jacob Kaczynski is a Tiger.
So he's finally got to the Tigers. Jacob Kaczynski.
And he's gone for pick 49 heading to Richmond.
So pick 49 will be going to the Hawks, and Jacob Kaczynski will be going to the Tigers next year. I think it's a pretty good get for them.
I think it's about right as well. I think 49's about right.
Again, I don't know why it took them this long though.
It just seems stupid.
Why does it take this long for one pick, which is pick 50 of all of them? It does show that a lot of clubs just sit there. I mean, maybe that's a little bit of a sign that maybe the AFL trade period shouldn't be this long.
Yeah, well,
because
it has been, besides Sydney starting it off really quickly, doing all their trades. It hasn't been a very
eventful trade period. For many
it's
clubs.
been a very it's been very quiet for most teams.
Yeah.
And it is official that Jack Billings is gone for the future 3rd round pick.
So yeah, Jack Billings will be going to the Melbourne Demons next year, and what is it? A future 3rd round pick will be going to the Saints. So that's basically just just fucking delete it, alright? Fucking hell. Oh, I hate you, fucking whatever. Fucking die. Fucking die, I can. Just waiting for the trade to officially go through. Look, this stage it still hasn't gone through officially, but all reports are suggesting that those trades are done.
Yeah.
So the Elijah Hollins one is the latest to be done, but there'll be a couple going through in a moment, and they'll be all done. If I had to ask you the clubs that have won in this trade period, who would they be? I'd be saying Sydney. Oh, hang on. Sorry. So just before we get into that. So, yeah, they have said here, Jack, officially from Josh Gabelich. Sorry, bro, I don't really know.
Yeah, no, that's right.
But anyway, Jack Billings has been traded to Melbourne in exchange for a future 3rd round pick, so that one's all done. Jack Billings will be playing at the Demons next year. Jacob Kaczynski has been traded to the Tigers, and pick 49 will be going to the Hawks. So that one's all done as well. I think it's probably fair enough, those 2 trades, if I'm being honest. St Kilda just wanted to clear Billings off the list because he was getting too much money. And Jacob Kaczynski, he hasn't really worked out at Hawthorn. Maybe he can reinvigorate his career at the Tigers. It looks like they do need a key forward to help Tom Lynch out next year. Hopefully he's all injury-free for Tigers fans, because I think they're in for a pretty rough year, if I'm being honest with you.
I just don't know about Jacob Kaczynski. He just hasn't. He can't do it week in, week out at the Hawks. So yeah, like you said, what a lot of people are trying to say now is that the Tigers are going to have a tough run, and Uzo's first year is going to be really, going to be a real struggle.
I don't know why this won't delete, but anyway, fucking whatever. Good on you, Ruby. Alright. So for anyone wondering, I have got the podcast out on now on the Rain channel on Spotify. Sorry, I wasn't able to do it before because I'm a bit of an idiot. But my brother didn't tell me that it could go on Spotify. You couldn't upload there, so I'm blaming him.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate him not telling me that.
Yeah.
Let's put that on there. Yeah.
Still waiting. I think now it's just going to be a bit of a... There's going to be a few trades every now and then, but...
Yeah, there's not really a lot more to go now. So basically, as we said...
Thatcher's still got...
Basically, the Zerk Thatcher Dersma trade's really the only one left, if I'm being honest. Is there any more? Bring up.
I think there was something. There probably was a couple.
So I'm just having a quick look. What was his name trade on?
You won't find it now.
Yeah, I find it now, of course. Oh, what the fuck is that? Mark Krasnowski. Trade alert. That one's all done. Sub-radical layer. Where the hell is it? Of course, it's not going to be there. I think they used my photo. No, they didn't, but it looks pretty similar.
Just write it in.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to have to, aren't I? AFL. True.
It was one word.
Is it?
Yes,
no,
there
it is. Alright. Make sure to go follow AFL TRDON_ because yeah, she has a lot of good shit on there. So basically, the rest of the trades that have to be done are the Xavier Dersma Zerk Thatcher trade, and if Orazio Fantasia can get to the Giants, that's basically the only other one that needs to be done at this stage.
But I think now, well, like it is that Port Adelaide are dealing with 2 teams. They have to deal with Essendon, but then they have to deal with the Giants about the trade. So it could be a long wait for both to see which one can actually get done.
Yeah, so Port Adelaide are basically the only ones left at the trade table.
Which,
other than
yeah.
basically the only ones looking like really desperately. Like Essendon probably like, oh, whatever. I'm surprised Essendon haven't folded, to be honest. Just let Brennan Zerk Thatcher go for whatever they can get. I get Xavier Dersma's coming back, but yeah, I think that's going to be interesting if that one comes out.
Yeah, I don't know.
No. What's this? Full, so 33. Yeah, that's fine. So type, yeah, that's fine. Alright, so if anyone was wondering if they could listen to our podcast on Spotify, Jesus Christ, Ruby. It is out on Spotify now, the newest one. Maybe it's because there was only one on there. Let's just try and play this one. Perfect. Alright, so we have our first official episode of the podcast on Spotify. So make sure you go listen to that if you guys are looking for it. And if you want, I will put it in the trade thingy. How you doing, Dill? My name's Dill as well. People call me Dill every now and then. How you doing, man? Still hasn't put the trade on there. So when it officially comes up, actually, you know what, fuck it. Let's just put it on there.
It was officials.
It's as official as it's going to get. Let's put the thing on there.
What was it? I don't know. When you search it on Spotify, it's all in lower cases.
Yeah, if you it's the Boundary Riders podcast, you can see the YouTube channel. It's basically just writing in lowercase. I don't know why. My brother looked it up with capital letters on it and it would not come up, which I thought was quite funny, but nonetheless, I'd say you'll find it. So I'll bring up those two trades on the screen right now. Nope, get rid of that. Oh, I don't need that, but it's alright.
Yeah, well, the Saints will have to pay a bit of the of Billings' contract because he's got 2 years left because he had 2 years left on his contract.
But they were more than happy to. They're like, just get him out of here.
It's like, I don't know, maybe.
I mean, I get why they're doing it.
Yeah,
I get why they're doing it though. He's not going to be in their best team, and it was a kind of a failure of a draft pick, obviously.
Yeah, like we've always
I'm surprised it's taken them 10 years to do it, to be honest. But anyway. Alright, so those are the two latest trades on screen right now. They haven't been done official on the AFL trade tracker, but they have been basically done. The latest one on the AFL trade tracker is Elijah Hollins, but at this stage that is the only one that we have done. So that's all good. So yeah, episode of the podcast is we can't have odds. We automatically rank them. Cool. Alright. So leave that there. Get rid of that because we already done that. Trade tracker. Still not up. Leave that on there. Thing on that. That should be all good. Alright. So yeah, that's basically the latest trades to be done. Looks like there's not much going on at the moment. To be honest, I don't think there'll be many more done. We already said that Orazio Fantasia may be done for GWS, although at this stage I don't know if Port are going to re-sign him. So they may well pick him up as a delisted free agent in the future, or maybe as a rookie pick some other time. We'll have to wait and see on that front. What was the other one?
The Zerg Thatcher.
The Zerg Thatcher Xavier Dersman trade.
Do you think it's a bit weird that Port Adelaide have waited so long to get all these deals done to the last day when, like everyone was saying before, the trade period, it was Port Adelaide were going to be really heavy. It was like it's taken them so long to get.
I think a lot of clubs have been trying to be fair, they're dealing with clubs like Essendon and Geelong, who are notoriously very hard to do trades with.
Stubborn.
Very stubborn and want to wait till the final moment. Like, for example, obviously Geelong waited all that time and then they've already done the trade now, which was for, what, it was a pick 25, which they were going to get, and they got pick 76 and pick 94. So, I don't know. To be honest, I think that's overs anyway. 25 is way too much for Radicalair, but anyway. And also Essendon have been notoriously very, very hard to work with. So, that being said, I don't know why the Jordan Sweet one took until today.
Yeah.
And I would also, like I said to you before we started, I think Jordan Sweet would be pretty disappointed right now. You would have thought that he was going to be jumping into that round one team as the number one ruck. You know, not to say that he wasn't going to work hard for it, but...
Yeah.
You know, he's been playing through the VFL for many years now, just been stuck behind Tim English.
Here we go. We got it. The Gunston deal was done. Well, Gunston, Brennan, Bryan deal was done.
Alright, so...
only two-way trade. Alright, so it is Gunston for a future second rounder. 47 and 61 has been traded to Brisbane. Well, from Brisbane to Hawthorn. And Brendan Ryan, future fourth, pick 39 and 54.
I think it's a win for the Lions, to be honest. I mean, I know
I think
future
it is.
second round pick has gone to the Hawks, but I think Brendan Ryan could be a really good player for them. They showed a few games that he played this year was pretty good for the Hawks as a forward, and I think as well, picking up a very young forward is actually really good news for them. So I think that's good news for Brisbane Lions. They didn't have to do much in this trade period. They picked up Tom Duday very early on as a free agent. He won't be playing the first half of the year, but he'll be back in the second half. And yeah, I think they've done pretty well, Brisbane, to end their trade. I think that'll probably be the end of their trade period. I don't think much else will be happening. So I think it's all good news for them, to be honest.
I just, like everyone's been saying though, why would they go to, why would the Hawks want to pick Gunston up again? It just seems like a backwards move.
Yeah, but I think at the end of the day, he could definitely help their key forwards develop.
Yeah,
I just don't think they should be using him to replace one of the other two. If it's Lewis or maybe Chol, I think those two need to be the keys.
Yeah, so Chol's not done yet, so maybe
that one was listed to be done, but it hasn't been official. Like what's going on.
They were saying he's going to be involved in that trade of the Gunston one. So so I don't know about that one, but it just seems maybe it's because Kaczynski's left that maybe they think that they'll bring Gunston in to help out. But
yeah,
I don't know. Just seems.
Oh, there it is. Hang on, sorry, I was just trying to get the latest one. Where is it? There it is. All right. There it is. That's what I was trying to look for. All right, so here's the latest trade done, guys. I'll quickly bring it up now. I just thought it was so funny that Jack Gunston immediately wanted to leave. It's only been 12 months since he left.
Yeah.
Now he wants to go back to the Hawks of all teams. Not to say the Hawks are, bad team to go to, but why would he want to go back to the same club that he was at?
But you have to just 1 year. This doesn't.
You have to 1 year.
Yeah, it's hard to.
To be honest, when he was up there, though, he didn't look like a player that they really were going to use and was going to be in the next couple, the best team starting round one next year. If he wasn't, if he was fit. Alright, so that's the latest trade done, guys. Cal Toomey has reported Jack Gunston, a future second rounder, pick 47 and pick 61 will be going to the Lions, and the Lions will be going to the Hawks. Fucking hell. See, Jack Gunston leaves, it comes back, and I've just muddled it up. I think you muddled up too.
Yeah,
Get over yourself. Anyway, and the Hawks have given up Brendan Ryan and a future fourth rounder, along with picks 39 and 54. So at the end of the day, it's basically a straight. Well, Brendan Ryan has gone to the Lions, and Hawthorn have picked up Jack Gunston and a future second rounder. That's basically the trade, in my opinion. I don't know, there's a few other ones that are circling around, but that's basically it for that. So we've just gone over. We've got under an hour to go, guys, in this year's trade period. A couple more trades still to be officially completed, but most of them have been confirmed now that they have been done. I can't watch the trade radio. How the hell can people listen to that fucking day in, day out? I couldn't. It's so boring. Why the hell is that not updated yet? Fucking. So that's the latest one, yeah. Jack Gunston done. Alright. An hour to go. Alright, with an hour to go, can we find a thing that has all the AFL trades done? That's all the teams done. AFL. I just want to find something that's fucking got it all listed, which is a lot easier. Page doesn't exist, that's fucking helpful. Can't they just have it down written for us? Wouldn't that be... Oh, fuck off, Telegraph. I'm not paying for it. Fuck off. Fuck off, man. Alright. Keep an eye on your phone. I'm going to try and find it. Because I know the trade tracker, but I want to find it by club. There we go. So officially has been done, the Jacob Kaczynski trade. It does say on the trade tracker right now. We already mentioned it. Kaczynski, Tigers, Hawthorn got pick 49. So it's basically that trade all done on the trade tracker right now. It's just 13 minutes ago. I don't know why I kept on updating it and it wouldn't come up. But anyway, fucking thing. Stupid thing. AFL. AFL trade tracker 23. Alright, let's see if it'll come up on Google. Is that different? Probably not. I doubt it. That's helpful. Yeah, because this one's something that just shows every single club. Maybe this one actually zero hangouts is usually pretty good. Alright, perfect. This is what we needed. Fucking thing. Alright. So, if we go through it right now, we've got the Crows, who have only picked up Chris Burgess in this year's trade period so far. They have lost in the trade period Tom Duday to the Lions and Shane McAdam to the Demons. James Border is still uncontracted. I think now at the end of this trade period, because they haven't been able to pick up a defender, he'll probably get re-signed. They also picked up a lot of draft picks, the Crows. So I think they've done okay. I think that I would be a little bit surprised. Well, I'll be interested to see if Chris Burgess does get into that round one team.
Yeah.
I think it'll be right up to the wire because I think it's between him and Phil Thorpe. The thing that Phil Thorpe brings to the team is the ruck use. However, he's not a goal a game. A lot of the time, he's not like getting on the scoreboard. I think Chris Burgess has proved in the VFL that he can actually get on the scoreboard. So I'll be interested to see how the Crows have gone. I think they're pretty much run-of-the-mill in the middle of the line at this stage, the Crows. I don't think they've done anything outstanding, but I think they've done well enough.
Yeah, it's probably, C. If you want to give a grade, C+, C+.
I just want to see if they can find all the picks that they picked up, because they did pick up a couple of good picks in the trade period as well.
Yeah, if you go to the AFL website for the trade, for the thing, I think that goes to
the draft order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so the Crows have got pick 10, pick 14, pick 20, and pick 89. So, I mean, that's pretty good to have picked up. They've got those three picks. They got the 14 in this year's trade period for Chris Burgess. They got pick, 14? They got pick 10 from the end of the season. They got pick 14 from the Gold Coast, and they got pick 20 as compensation for the Crows. I'd probably give it a B grade, maybe a low
probably
B.
A B. With all the draft picks, I think it's about a B, C+, I think.
Yeah, I think that's good enough from them because, I think they could have used a little bit more. I think this is why they went for Clayton Oliver so hard, was because they do need more depth in their midfield. And I do think as well their defence is still quite lacking.
Yeah.
I do think their forward line is their best line, and it has been for a while. So I think Chris Burgess does add a little bit to that. But at the end of the day, I still don't know if he gets into that round one team. So he's definitely not a straight starter. He has to have a good pre-season to get into that team. So, yeah, I think the Crows probably a low B grade at the end. If they were to pick up a player like a Clayton Oliver, which was never going to happen, but if it was, maybe that would have been good. But that's probably a pretty okay trade period from the Crows. If we look at the Lions, we have Tom Duday coming to the Lions, and we also had recently Brendan Ryan come from Hawthorn to the Lions as well in a trade. The Lions have lost in this trade period Tom Fullerton. So that's basically all they've lost. So, look, it's not a big trade period from the Lions, but overall, I mean, they haven't really looked too much at the draft. They kind of know they're in the now. They've got picks 30, 39, 51, 54, 67, and 97. So I think it's probably a B grade trade period. It's not.
They didn't need to do much.
They didn't need to do much. So, the way they've gone about it, I think they've done really well. And they've picked up the players that they need. A young forward who could definitely take that role in the future. And Tom Duday, who could definitely come into the team, mid-year after the injury, have an impact. So I think it's all good for them.
Yeah.
Then we've got Carlton. They have picked up Elijah Hollins, I believe is the only one they've picked up. They have lost Paddy Dow and Zach Fisher in the trade period. Look, I think, again, it's pretty run-of-the-mill. Carlton didn't have to do a lot. I think they would have liked to maybe pick up... I'm sure they would have loved to pick up a player like Lockie Schultz. I don't know if he was really being asked from Carlton, but I think that an extra forward option to complement the likes of Harry Mackay and Charlie Kerner would have been really good.
Yeah, I think that they need more small forwards. because
I just don't think that
don't
always
have the pressure.
can really keep that sort of. I just don't rely on them to kick a couple of goals a game.
Yeah.
I don't see them having a 40-goal season.
No.
Let's just put it that way. At this stage, I do think their losses aren't the worst. Zach Fisher was never in their best 22, so I think that's okay to get rid of him. Paddy Dow may be a little bit disappointing, but at the end of the day, he was not going to. Carlton's probably best line is probably their midfield in a lot of ways. So I think that Paddy Dow is never going to get a spot there. So end of the day, he has decided to move on, go to the Saints. Now looking at Collingwood, they have picked up Lockie Schultz. I believe that's the only one they've picked up in the end of the day. They have lost Taylor Adams. They have also lost Jack Ginnivan. So, look, I think Collingwood have had a good trade period to pick up Lockie Schultz. I think he's one of the best picks of the trade period. Look at surprise when people saw that firsthand. They currently have picked 19, 33, 80, and 98. So basically they have 19 and 33.
Don't know if they...
What?
Oh, no, yeah, that's what... Sorry, no, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah, they picked up that from the trade they recently did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Just quickly checking the trade tracker. I don't think anything's been done at this stage.
No. Still keeping an eye on it. It's nothing. The British just confirming all the trades that have been done.
Yeah, good on you. That's definitely worth fucking listening for 3 weeks. Well, how long's it been going for? 3 weeks now?
Trade radio.
It's basically been going since the Monday after the grand final. So there we go. So the Jack Billings is fishing on the trade tracker right now. That one's all done. As you can see on screen, the latest trade is the Jack Gunston one, and then the Brisbane Lions picked up Brendan Ryan. We'll be getting to that as soon as it comes to us. Just still going through. I think Collingwood had a pretty good trade period to pick up Lockie Schultz.
Yeah. I think you look at it, you think it's probably a B. It's not an A. It's just like if they kept I think they just need that for depth. This Ginnivan and Adams. I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think Taylor Adams will probably be in their best 22 next year. I don't think Jack Ginnivan would be, but I still think that him being on the list is still good to have, especially if they get a couple of injuries.
Yeah.
I think that would be good for them, but nonetheless, that's their trade period done and dusted. Collingwood basically don't have anything else to do. Essendon have picked up Goldstein, Gresham, Mackay, and I'm sure they picked up someone else, didn't they? They're going to try and get Dersma. That's basically the other one. I'm pretty sure that was it. That's all it says on here anyway. That's what I'm going with. But anyway, at this stage, look, they've picked up some players here that will help them next year, but I don't think it's jumping off. I'd give them probably a B grade like the other ones, but I think a lot of people are saying like there's a lot of players here, so it's good. But in my opinion, none of these guys... Look, I think the best out of all of them is Todd Goldstein, if I'm being honest. But at the end of the day, I don't think he takes over Sam Draper. Jade Gresham, I know a lot of people say that he could be a really good small forward. I think when watching him, I think he's a very selfish player. He never seems to pass the ball, and he's not very good with his foot skills, in my opinion. So I think Jade Gresham's a pretty overrated player. Ben Mackay, I think, is the most overrated player in this trade period.
100%.
There's been so many statistics come out about how he loses so many one-on-one contests. I'll be interested to see how he plays next year at a better club at Essendon. But at the end of the day, I mean, I know it's hard to play at North Melbourne, obviously, but I think the way that they've been talking about Ben Mackay, like how much they paid to get him and the big contract that he's getting, I don't think he's worth that much. And I think that we'll be seeing early next year if there's a lot of how he starts playing. If he can defeat all the critics and all that sort of stuff, good on him. But at this stage, I think it's looking pretty dismal for Essendon. These players don't bring out a lot. We've seen Essendon in trade periods do a lot, a lot. And it seems like, it's going to happen. Well, no, but it seems like it's going to happen. This time's the time. But, we saw, what was it? I think it was a couple of years ago when Jake Stringer, they brought in all those players. We've seen like the Dylan Shield come in, hasn't really made a lot of impact. They still haven't won that final after 20 odd years. Yeah. So at this stage, the only player that seems like going out is Massimo D'Ambrosio and Zerg Thatcher as well. They haven't been done yet, but I would assume they're gone. They're not going to be back at Essendon next year. So I would say still a B grade. I don't think it's a bad trade period. They've done very well to pick up 3 or 4 players. If they pick up Dersma, I give them a little bit more, because I think Dersma's actually would be their best pickup of the trade period.
Yeah.
But again, I think Essendon needed, grunt. I think they needed more, big-bodied players, like, through their midfield. I guess Todd Goldstein does bring that, but how long is he going to be there? Maybe 1, maybe 2 years? That's just my thoughts on it. I'd probably give it a B grade.
I'd probably say, I think it's a C, C+.
A C+?
I think it's C+, B-. But as of 1 minute ago, Mobby Old Charles has got to Hawthorn. He has gone, obviously, to Hawthorn. Also, pick 62 goes to
Hawthorn. Hang on, I'll quickly screenshot it.
Yeah, what coming to Richmond? It was a 3-way trade. No, it's not. No.
No, it was a Richmond because that was a part of the 3-way. No, I think it is typo, isn't it? Hang on. Let's just show this. So Hawthorn will now send their future second round deal to Gold Coast.
Yeah, so it was a 3-way trade.
Yeah, so it was a 3-way trade.
Yeah.
So hang on, I'll screenshot this one. So it was a 3-way trade between Gold Coast, Brisbane, and Hawthorn. Then why is Richmond involved? I think that may be a typo.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'm just gonna screenshot this one.
Yeah.
Who cares? This tweet seems like the one we're looking at. So this seems like the latest trade, guys. So maybe your child has got to Hawthorn. That's basically the headline of that, of us talking then for the past few minutes. Being confused. That's basically.
Yeah, it's a typo.
Yeah. Is that what he said?
Well, no. He's look at So Hawthorn get Chol and pick 62. Brisbane, Gold Coast get Brisbane's future second pick.
All right. So there we go. That's basically the look there, guys. But yeah, that's basically the trade that's done now. Alright, let's go back to what we were looking at. What did you say about Essendon? You said not much.
I think it's a C. It's C+, B-. They're good. They're good AFL players. They're not. I don't think they're A graders. None of them are A graders.
I don't think any of these three players are getting them to finals next year.
No, I don't think any of them are. And I don't think really Dersma will give them that other piece to the puzzle either. I think he's a good addition for them, but I don't think he's the player that's going to get them there.
Yeah, that's a fair enough talk. But I think one of the worst clubs in the trade period has to be Fremantle.
Yep.
They've lost Joel Hamling, who's a good defensive player. Obviously, would be good for depth. Liam Henry, who was an up and coming wingman, and Lockie Schultz. I think it's probably the worst loss of the trade period. So I think this has to be an F tier. They haven't picked up anyone and they haven't done much. So I don't know how you can give anything more than an F. They've failed. They haven't brought anyone in.
What draft picks do they have? Do you know? What are the draft picks?
The draft picks, Fremantle have a pick 34, 46, 60. So no first round picks.
Yeah, no, that's an F. It's like...
They got rid of that last year, though, remember, because they got rid of their first round pick to Melbourne for
Jackson.
Jackson. So this is a terrible trade period for Freo.
Terrible. They didn't play with it well all season, and it's just got even worse with this trade period. That's an F, and it's going to be an interesting season for next year. And like I think you said during the podcast this week that Justin Longmuir is one of the most under pressure coaches in the league starting next season. I think him, Ken Hinkley, and Luke Beveridge are the most under pressure people this year going into the trade period. So now we get... I think it's just an absolute F. I don't think you can rate that any higher for Freo. We'll be doing a more in-depth video about this in the next couple of days. We'll be doing our best 22s as well, so you'll have to remember to write that down so you can start doing them. Yeah.
Anyway, to Geelong. I mean, it's very nothing. I mean, they've only lost Azarfa Radicale, which wasn't in their best 22 anyway, and they've picked up nothing. So, what do you give them? You give them a not N/A.
I think it's
not applicable. Like, what are you supposed to do? They didn't trade for their pick 8, which they said they were going to do. So they've got pick 8, 25, 76, 87, and 94. So basically they've got 8 and 25.
I think it's more of I think it's a D. They at least did something. They got rid of a player and they kept pick 8. But obviously you've got draft picks can get traded after the trade period anyway, before the draft. So if they keep... I think it's a D. They at least did something, but I don't know.
I don't think it's much at all, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's more of an NA, not.
I think it's an N/A. I think it's not applicable because they
Yeah.
didn't do anything. I mean, at least Freo got an F because they lost all these players and they didn't get anything in return.
Yeah.
Geelong literally did nothing. They sat there and did nothing, and I think that's very surprising because I don't think they have
Like
a very interesting list going to next
year.
year.
They didn't get into the finals, so why wouldn't they try and do something?
Yeah, I mean, we know things like injuries and stuff, obviously, but yeah, I was very surprised to see that they did not do anything in this trade period. Because usually Geelong are pretty active in trade periods, even when they're up the top. So, interesting about that one. The Gold Coast are next. It's interesting to talk about the Gold Coast because they have lost a few players. We obviously saw maybe Chol has gone. We also saw Elijah Holland's gone. But they've picked... Gold Coast have basically focused on are getting draft picks. And they've got pick 24, 26, 27, 32, 36, 38, 62, 66, 71, 74, and 84. So they've got the most amount of draft picks, I believe, going into the draft in a couple of weeks. The reason why they're doing this, of course, is to pick up all these academy players that they are wanting to pick up. I think this was pretty good from the Gold Coast to just pick up draft picks. They didn't have to do a lot. No. They didn't have to go out and pick up players, in my opinion. I'd probably give them a B, maybe a high C, because they've picked up a lot of draft picks. They didn't have to do a lot in this trade period, but to not pick up any players, I don't like that from any club, to be honest. I still think picking up players is a good way to improve your team. That's why I think Sydney were an absolute fail last year for only picking up Aaron Francis, Andrew Francis, idiot. But that's why I think Sydney failed last year, but I think they've done very well to pick up a lot of players this year. But I do think the Gold Coast have done very well to pick up draft picks because they know they need a lot of draft picks and a lot of draft points to use to help in the trade period coming up. In the draft coming up.
Yeah, I think it's a B. I think just with the players that they're going to get, they're not going to leave because they're part of the academy. So I think that's a smart move. Maybe a Chol, they didn't need to lose, but he needed game time. He's a good player.
Yeah, I think that's a very interesting one because if a player like Ben King does go down, or a big key forward does go down, they've only got Casbold, Sam Day, Ben King, and then they've got their academy player that they're picking up in the trade period, draft. I keep on saying trade period, sorry, but in the draft. I can't remember his name. I can't remember his name. I couldn't even guess it. But if one of those players do go down early in the season, they're going to struggle for forward height. So I think that's one concern of the Gold Coast going into next year. That's just my thoughts so far. We go to the Giants as well. If they pick up Fantasia, which we've still got about 40 minutes to go, I think it'll be a very good period for them. I think they've done very well to hold a lot of players like before the trade period, like Kieran Briggs to just sign before the period, just to sign him quickly, get that all done. Able to get Braden Pruse as well, so they have a backup. They did lose Matt Flynn, so that's a bit disappointing. But at the end of the day, I think the Giants, it's probably C. It's very middle of the range. If they do pick up Fantasia, I think you upgrade that to a B, because I think that's very good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you can't do much else than what the Giants have done. They've done very well to hold players, which is something they haven't been able to do for many off seasons in the past. So I think that's maybe a low grade B. But at the end of the day, I think they haven't done much, which may be a good thing.
No, I think it's a C. I think they didn't do much. They lost Flynn, but yeah, I think it's about. I think they didn't do much. It's probably a C, really. That's how I'd grade it.
So at this stage, 40 minutes to go, just under 40 minutes to go. It seems the only deals that need to be done now are the Xavier Dersma trade to the Bombers for Brendan Zerk-Thatcher. It still looks like that's not going to get done at this stage. D'Ambrosio as well hasn't been moved to the Bombers from the Hawks, but it does seem like that's going to be more like a delisted free agency move. And Fantasia to the Giants is also a trade that still needs to be done. We're just continuing from here. Hawthorn, they've picked up Jack Ginnivan. They've also picked up the likes of Mabior Chol, and I think that's it. Is that all they've picked up?
Yeah.
Oh, and Jack Gunston as well.
Yeah.
So they picked up those three. They have lost Tyler Brockman. They've lost Jacob Kaczynski, and they've also lost Brendan Ryan. So That's funny because Brendan Ryan just signed this year and he's left. Fuck you, boy. Off you go. Look, I think Hawthorn, it's hard because they've lost three. They've lost Brockman, who may have been their best 22. They've lost Brendan Ryan, who's a pretty good player, who I think would have been very good for them up forward, and Jacob Kaczynski, who I don't know is in their best 22. They've picked up Jack Ginnivan, who I think's in their best 22, starter next year. They've picked up Jack Gunston, and they've also picked up Mabior Chol, who I think is in their best team starting next year as well. So at this stage, I'm giving it again, probably just a run-of-the-mill B or B grade, probably. They've picked up players who can be in their best 22 next year. I do think Jack Gunston is an okay pickup. I don't think, though, that he should be taking over the likes of Mitch Lewis or Mabior Chol going into round one. If they can fit all three of them in, then by all means do that, but... yeah, I don't think there's any chance of him. I don't think there should be a reason for him to get pushed out one of those guys. So at this stage, I'm thinking it's probably around a B grade.
Yeah, I think it's a B. Like, you look at it, they're probably going to be all in their best 22. I think they will be. So I think it's a good trade period for them. And yeah, I think they got rid of some of the fat around their list, I think. Jacob Kaczynski, I don't think was in their best 22. Tyler Brockman, I think they just swapped it for Ginnivan, so I think that works out for them.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think it's just that sort of trade period. They've got to go back to the draft again and go get some more youth.
Yeah, and Hawthorn have also got pick 4 in the draft, so they may well... I don't know if they'll trade that out, but they've only got pick 4. After that, they've only got pick 44. So that's something that's not... they've got a pretty... So they're looking a lot more trade periods at the moment because they've only got one player in the first 40 picks that they can pick from. Then they've got pick 44, 47, 49, 61, 63, and 83. So not a lot that will be done with those draft picks, but we'll see how they go with the pick 4. Still just looking at the trades so far. It's still the latest one is the Jack Gunston one and the Ryan one to the Lions at this stage. Still looking through. Yeah, basically the only one we're waiting for now is Zerk Thatcher, Dersma, and maybe Fantasia as well. That's basically it we're looking for at the moment, guys. Still continuing on, because I thought we might as well talk about something instead of just sitting here watching the screen, maybe something happening. We'll get to Melbourne. They've picked up Tom Fullerton and Shane McAdam in the trade period. They have lost Brodie Grundy, James Harms, and James Jordan. Oh, they've also picked up Jack Billings. So, it's hard to read Melbourne.
I think it's a C. I think it's a C. Maybe. Yeah, I think it's a C, because I think Tom Fullerton, Shane McAdam, and Billings all can play at the senior level, but I just think that losing a player like Grundy, Harms, and Jordan, they're more your midfield.
If we look at it this way, they've basically, I know this may sound a bit harsh, but they've basically done nothing. Like, Tom Fullerton has came in for Brodie Grundy. Neither of them Brodie Grundy wasn't in their best 22 at the end of the year. Shane McAdam, let's say he replaces James Jordan as the sub. I don't think he makes their best 22 round one, Shane McAdam, at this stage. He plays a third tour, which is Bailey Fritsch's role. Neither of them are very much pressure forwards, so I don't know how that will work out, in my opinion. And Jack Billings, he's basically replacing the James Jordan, James Harms. Is he going to be in their best 22 if round one shows up and they're looking for a midfielder? I don't know, because neither Jordan or Harms are in their best 22.
Yeah.
So I'd probably say C, maybe B, but it'd be a very low B.
I think it's C. I think you can't go more than a B. With the team that they have, they didn't really get the players they needed. They didn't get a big bustling forward,
which is what they needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what they needed, and just a little bit more midfield.
Yeah, I think
they didn't do either.
I think like if a Petrarca or an Oliver go down again, or a Viney, it's like you don't have a lot of depth there.
And I think having midfield depth as well for Melbourne would be really good, because we saw when Petrarca went forward this year, he was actually quite good up there and gave them something different, which gave them a little bit more of a forward structure. But now we gave him something else to kick to, other than kicking it to Joel Smith, who's not really a proven forward.
Yeah. And
obviously Bailey Fritsch was injured for a lot of the year, so. Yeah, I think
Harrison Petty's the $1 million man, isn't he?
Yeah, well, he is. But he was also injured as well. So
yeah.
We'll see how they go start of the season. I think Melbourne will be up there, cracking when the whips are cracking, as they always are. But, well, not always, but as they have been for the past few years. But at this stage, yeah, I don't really think this trade period has been, very flourishing for them at this point. After that, though, we get to North Melbourne. They've picked up Zach Fisher, Bigal Nguyen. I'm going to get that wrong so many times until he plays. And they've also picked up Dylan Stevens. They have picked up Toby Pink as like a... How have they picked him up? Is he like
it's a free agent, delisted free agent, because he was delisted from the Swans a couple of years ago.
So you can pick someone up as a delisted free agent, even it was a couple of years ago.
I think so, because he played. I can't remember how that. We probably should know since we're doing this, but but I can't think of how it was technically done. But
let's just speculate. He definitely came to the club as a trade from the Swans.
But he was one of the. I think he definitely won. No, I'm not going to say definitely. He did play well for Glenelg in their premiership season.
He was in the 2023 Sandford Team of the Year. I do know that.
Yeah.
So I think that is a good pickup for him. I think it's as big. I think they've got some good players there. They lost some of the older players in Todd Goldstein. Ben Mackay, I think might as well.
I think he's a good player to get rid of.
I think Toby Pink's the new best key back in the comp. So,
but yeah, I think bringing in Zach Fisher, Dylan Stevens, I think
the thing about those two as well is they're good kicks, and North Melbourne need good kicks because they've had a lot of times in the past few years where their disposal is just woeful. So I think there's actually two really good pickups for them. I know some people can. I know earlier on we were saying things like he could be the Jared Pollock trade, Zach Fisher, and it very well could be. But I do think they are good pickups. I think Dylan Stevens is especially. I think he would be in the best 22 of most teams if it wasn't for, probably out of the top, probably other than the top 6 teams in the comp. I think Dylan Stevens is as good up there. We'll have to see how Bigal Nguyen. We're going to go Nguyen. We'll see how he goes. He played, I think, a game or two for the Tigers, so they're looking to play him in defence, I believe. But I do think it's been a pretty good trade period for North. They still have pick 2. They still have some thoughts about trying to upgrade and get to pick 1 and try and pick up Harley Reid. We'll see how that plays out. They've got 2, 3, 15, 17 and 18 along with 57 and 82. But they've got 5 picks in the top 20. Yeah, so that's pretty good. I think they may have to I think they will trade. I honestly think that they will get pick 1 from West Coast.
I don't think they will.
You don't think they will?
Nah. I think they will.
Well, have you seen Harley Reid come out and say,
Yeah,
I think he's my new favourite player, coming out and saying, I think Sam McClure hates me, and then he came out and said, what is one thing that you hate? And he said, Sam McClure. Oh, I love him. I
thought that was fucking
I hope the Swans get pick 1 and pick him. What a legend. But anyway, I think North Melbourne had a pretty good period, probably had a B grade.
Yeah, I think so.
After that, we get to Port Adelaide. They've picked up Radikalea, Ivan Soldo, Jordan Sweet, and at this stage they have lost maybe Dersma and also Fantasia. A little bit surprised that Hayes and Lysette weren't traded out. I'm surprised that Hayes is...
speculation that Lysette will retire if he doesn't get his way. If no one looks at him, so I don't think anyone will look at him. So he may retire at the end of this year.
We'll have to see at that point. I mean, I guess they did lose Bryn Teagle, but that's really not much. Look, Port, it's hard to give an A grade. Like, I'm going to be honest, this is me talking. I think the best pickup was Van Soldo, because I think that he is a very good ruckman. I think they got him for absolutely nothing. I'm very surprised that Richmond didn't ask for a lot more than pick, basically. I think it was 41 they asked. I think that this guy is one of the better ruckmen. I think he can be one of the better ruckmen in the comp in the next couple of years. Radikalea, I think, could be good for Port Adelaide, but again, he hasn't really proven it at the top level, so I have to see how he goes. Jordan Sweet, I feel like he's the most saddest, not the saddest, but I feel really sorry for him. He would have been thinking at the start of the trade period, I'm going to be the number 1 ruckman at Port Adelaide next year. And then all of this talk started coming up about Ivan Soldo, and then he's got to the club. So now he's going to have to fight yet again for the number 1 ruck role. We'll have to see how that plays out. No way in hell both of them are playing in the same team.
Not with Port's forward line. Not with Port's forward line, because even though Soldo can play forward, it just wouldn't work with the tools that Port Adelaide has. Yeah,
Port couldn't play because Georgiades should be back next year. They can't play Marshall, Finlayson, Dixon, Georgiades. Sorry, that's the 4. Yeah. Jordan Sweet and Ivan Soldo.
So it doesn't work. So sadly for Jordan Sweet, he may have to
play for the Sandful.
Play in the Sandful again, but they'll play in the Sandful.
And they may pick up Zeke Thatcher as well.
Yeah, well, to be honest, the way they're going.
If you had to give a grade on Port Adelaide's trade period, what would you give it?
B.
Give it a B.
Nothing more than that. Even if they get Zerk Thatcher, I still don't think Zerk Thatcher's in their best 22.
You don't?
No. I think it was good that Port Adelaide got Radicalier, but I don't think Zerk Thatcher's going to make Port Adelaide's best 22.
That's probably a big call, really. I mean, they've been doing all this talk about him. Do you think that they should trade him for Dersma? Do you think that Dersma should be?
I think you should keep I believe that Port Adelaide should keep Dersma, and Zerk Thatcher can
come through this.
We'll pick him up, but he won't be playing round 1.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting because they've been talking for years that Port Adelaide need to, get some better defenders. And to be honest, is he better than Trent McKenzie? That's the thing, because he's basically taking his role at this point. Is he going to take over Trent McKenzie? In the next couple of years, he probably would, because he's younger and he's got time on his hand. But at this stage, coming into round 1, both of them both fit. It'd be very interesting to see who gets picked up, who plays round 1, because I don't think both of them play, because I don't think either of them are intercept. I mean, I guess to an extent that Trent McKenzie can play as a little bit more of a swingman, but again, that's more Aliir-Aliir's role. Yeah. I think that Aliir-Aliir will really flourish next year from the addition of Radicalier.
I think bringing these guys in will help Aliir go back to what he used to be able to do at his best.
At the Swans as well.
Yeah.
So, I think that's probably the best thing for Port. I'd probably give it a B+. I think none of these guys exactly jump out to me, but I do think they all fill a role. And I do think that Port Adelaide have done well to pick up. I think Port have done well to pick up Soldo and Sweet, because I think if one of them go down, the other one comes up.
That's the thing that Port Adelaide have always struggled with, is that if a life set goes down, they're picking from rookies. That's what they were picking from. So I think bringing in a Soldo and a Sweet, so if one of them, like you just said, if one of them goes down, you've got the cover.
Yeah.
And that's good, because Port Adelaide, because I didn't like when Port Adelaide used Dixon or Finlayson in the ruck.
Yeah.
Because I thought that if they get injured in the ruck,
then you don't have much to go with.
Exactly, then you got no forward down, so it doesn't work like that.
So with 25 minutes to go, guys, there is still no extra trades done since the Gunston one, which is on the screen right now. You can see, that's the MLB or Child one. So that one hasn't actually been officially done yet, but that was involved in the Gunston trade, I believe. So it should be on the screen pretty shortly. Still got the Zerk Thatcher, Dersma, and Fantasia trades to be done in the next 25 minutes. That's basically all we've got at this stage. No, that was basically saying that they'd never gain legs. So just quickly, there is a little bit of talk a lot of talk in the trade period about Dylan Shield going to St Kilda. There was some news today saying that he wants to go to the Saints, but they never have eventuated. I think Tom Morris reported that, so that was probably false. But anyway, it says here his manager, is that what they call them? Their managers? Yeah, their player manager, Paul Connors, did come out and say that names get floated. Dylan's been injured for the second half of the year, and I think it probably caused his name to come up. But he thinks both parties have had a little look at it, but nothing was really too serious, and they've moved on. So Dylan Shield will be playing for the Bombers next year. I think he's going to be 31, so I'll be interested to see how much of a year he has. But moving on, we'll go to the Tigers. They have picked up Jacob Kaczynski, and they have lost Noying, Soldo. Yeah, they've lost Noying and Soldo. I'm a little bit surprised they let Soldo go for so little. I don't think Big Al Nong is such a big loss because he didn't play a game. I think Jacob Kaczynski is a good pickup, but I think that the Tigers haven't done much here. I'd give him probably a C.
I think
maybe
a D.
Yeah, maybe a D. I mean, I do think that Kaczynski can have a role. If he plays well, we have seen when Kaczynski plays well, he can be a very good forward.
Yeah.
And he does add a lot. But if he plays poorly and he can't kick goals, if he's like Sam Wiedemann was this year, when everyone thought Sam Wiedemann finally got to a club where he can play football, and he didn't do much at all. I think he played 7 or 8 weeks in the team, and he didn't get a goal as a key forward. If that's something that Jacob Kaczynski could do. So I'm sitting as a C grade. You're sitting as a D grade.
Yeah, I think they lost because if Nankervis goes down, what have they got?
Which he has done, and he's pretty prone to get himself suspended too.
Suspended. It's like you just. Like what people have been saying, that Richmond may have a really tough year this year. They might have a tough year.
There has been what's his name, Samson Ryan, who has taken over pretty well as a ruckman. So he may very well come on next year. I still think they've had an okay.
He needs to come on.
He needs to come on a lot
now.
Yeah, we'll wait and see on Richmond. I think we'll be having a lot of talks. I don't really see Richmond doing much next year. That's just what I'm going to say. Next we get to the Saints. They have picked up Paddy Dow, Liam Henry. They have lost Nick Caulfield and Jade Gresham.
And Billings.
And Jack Billings as well, which happened recently. At this stage, I think St Kilda have had a pretty good trade period. They've got rid of Jade Gresham, who I think he's been sitting in their best 22 for no reason, really. I don't think he's been in their best 22. Nick Caulfield, a little bit tough, because obviously he was a top 10 draft pick when he got picked up, but he just hasn't been able to get fit enough to play in the team, so I think it's good. It's all right to get rid of him. Paddy Dow and Liam Henry. The more I've thought about it, Liam Henry, I think he's actually a very good pickup from the Dockers. I think he'll definitely add to their runners more talent. He could very well play even off half-back if he doesn't play on the wing. I think he will probably play on the wing, but he could definitely play half-back.
He's a very good user. As well.
Yeah, and he can definitely score as well. So
I think that's yeah.
I do think he's a lot more. His future's on the wing to half-back, because I think he's a good ball user. And I just don't think he's real tough enough to play as like that, pressure forward. That's just my thoughts. I just don't think that he's tough enough to do that. I think he's a lot more useful with his leg speed and his foot skills. And I think Paddy Dow's a really good get for them as well. Like we've been saying, I think throughout the whole time we've been talking about trades this year, that St Kilda need to upgrade on their midfield depth, and I think Paddy Dow definitely adds to that. Yeah. I think St Kilda need to do a lot more with their midfield depth, but I think they've done very well to get Paddy Dow in. Because, there was talk about him going to Sydney potentially, so I think they've done very well to bring him in.
Yeah, I think it's a B. I think you're looking at it, they need the more midfield depth. They needed a bit more run. And I think, like you said, the selfishness that Gresham has always brought to the team is just like, I think they need to get rid of it. And I think it was a smart move by Ross Lyon or whoever decided to do it, to get rid of Gresham. Caulfield, he just couldn't get on the field. It's pretty sad, but maybe a new club will help him.
Yeah. I think that's very good. I think probably, like you said, a B grade. They've also got picks 13, 21, 40 and 92. So they've got basically 13 and 21. So we'll see how that plays out for the Saints. Next we get to, I think, the best performing club in the trade period. Yeah, I'm a bit biased, but also look at the players they've got in. Taylor Adams, Brodie Grundy, Joel Hamling, James Jordan. All of them are in their best 22 at the start of next year.
Yeah. And
they've only lost Dylan Stephens, who again probably wasn't in their best 22 at the end of the year. They've still got Sam Wicks to re-sign and Sam Reid.
Do you think they'll sign him?
Sam Wicks they will. Sam Reid, I'd be surprised. Unless they pick him up as a rookie. That's the only way I'd think that. Sam Wicks, I think he will, because the one thing Sydney is lacking is small forward pressure forwards.
Yeah.
So I think he'll get re-picked up. I think Sydney have to be the best team of the trade period. I know that makes that a bit biased, but it's
you have
true.
to give them an A. You have to.
Yeah.
You just have to.
A plus best. I think they're up there with them.
I want to hear an opinion if you don't agree with us. Like, that's an A. I think you have to.
Yeah, you have to give that as the best team in the trade period so far. I don't think you can give anything less than an A. Who else are we giving an A to? I think we gave it to. Have we given anyone else an A? No. Maybe Brisbane.
Oh no, I think it was it Collingwood? Maybe. No,
we didn't give Collingwood because they lost.
I think we gave them
a B. So we haven't given anyone else an A so far.
Yeah, I think it's Sydney. I think you can't go past Sydney's the way that Sydney did it.
Yeah. Next we got West Coast. They've picked up Tyler Brockman and Matt Flynn, and surprisingly they haven't lost anyone. So you got to give West Coast a little bit of credit here for the huge poor year they've had. We've never seen an AFL team have this poor a year. They haven't lost anyone. They've obviously had players retire and players delisted, but they haven't lost anyone through trade. Now, there was talk throughout earlier in the trade period that Jake Waterman, well, actually it was before the trade period, that he could leave and he decided to stay. You kind of have to give them a good score here.
I think it's a B. I think that they needed the ruckman for the extra depth. I thought that, you never know, maybe that Callum Jameson?
No, it's Bailey Williams.
Bailey Williams, sorry, yeah. I think they just need the ruck depth and Tyler Brockman. I think he gives them that forward pressure that they probably do need with Jamie Cripps coming to the end of his career.
Yeah, really the only one who was giving that this year was Noah Long.
Yeah, Noah Long is a kid. So I think that's what they need, the West Coast Eagles.
And at this stage, they still hold on to pick 1.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit surprised. I know you said that they will hold it. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't tried to trade it to pick up more to get more picks.
Maybe fasten their rebuild.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But try and pick up some young talent because if we look at this a little bit here, they do have some re-signed players. Cully, Edwards, Jinby, Elijah Hewitt, Hoff, Long as well, looking at some young players. Those 5 in particular, I think all of them will be in their best 22 starting next year.
Yeah.
As you know, Cully can't because I think he's injured, so it's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah.
But all of them are in their best 22. Jameson is a very good ruckman. A good for depth as a ruckman. He's probably a little bit unlucky that was one of the few spots last season that West Coast didn't really need filled because Bailey Williams was holding that spot.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I'd probably give them an A. I mean, they haven't lost anyone. They've picked up 2 players who definitely slide into their team round 1 of next season. I think I get why you said B because they haven't picked up anyone big. But to have not lost a player like Liam Duggan, Elliot Yeo, that's just. I think they've got the players that, if they can get them on the field, I think they could have a good enough lineup to start their rebuild West Coast next year.
I think, it could be possibly an A. I think they need to have Harley Reid in their team. If they give up pick 1, I think it's a big mistake.
So you think even though he's said many times, you do believe that he's telling a lot of truth that he's happy to go?
You never know. I think also, like I have said, that they do the round 1 draftees now get 3 contracts.
I think one thing as well is West Coast have never really been a team to lose a bunch of players.
Well, like with
it's not like Fremantle. It's interesting because Fremantle just seem to lose players all the time, even though they've done a lot better than West Coast over the past few years. But West Coast never really lose players.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think if they can get some good time into Harley Reid, he may potentially come back. But I do believe him on the fact that I mean, if he's going to bag out Sam McClure, I think you have to take him at his word. But anyway, with 1 club to go, we've still got 15 minutes in the trade period. Still, Brendan Zerk-Thatcher, Xavier Dersma, and the Orazio Fantasia moves have not been completed. I'm just trying to see quickly if the Mabior Chol trade has been completed. It still hasn't been done on here, but it has been done. The Mabior Chol trade has been done, which is on screen right now for you guys. But let's finally talk about the Western Bulldogs. They have picked up Nick Caulfield and James Harms. They have lost Jordan Sweet at this stage. So you can't look. They haven't lost anything major because Jordan Sweet's not in their best 22. They've picked up James Harms, and Nick Caulfield, which add to their halfback and midfield depth. I don't think that James Harms. I don't know if he's in their best 22 going into the start of the next season because that's Liberatore's role. That's Bontempelli's role in the guts, really hard. I don't think that James Harms gets into that midfield. I'm a little bit surprised they haven't picked up someone a little bit more on the outside. They do have a pick inside the top. Yeah, they have pick 5, which and they've also stocked up a lot of draft picks, which is good because they are picking up a father-son pick. I think his name is Croft, I believe. So they have all these picks here to match that one. So I think they're looking at this that they're going to have 2 first-round picks. Because one's going to be a father-son, the other one's going to be their pick 5. Because I don't think they'd use that. They won't use that on their father-son if they can use it just by combining all these. Yeah. So,
I think
they've picked up all the trades. I give them probably a B.
It's depth in their team. I think, because English doesn't get injured a lot, so, and they've got Lob obviously as well, so, and they've got plenty of that, so I think it's a B.
Yeah, I'd really say it's about a B for the Bulldogs as well. I don't think they've done anything massive here, but I do think they've added to their depth in their midfield, which is good. Getting Nick Caulfield, I think, would be good for their halfback. I think he'd potentially become a wingman in the future. They've only lost Jordan Sweet, which again, he's not in their best 22. So overall, I think they're probably a B grade for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, with about 14 minutes to go, we might as well wait and see if any more trades do get done. Still nothing on the Zerk-Thatcher Dersma trades at this stage. Doesn't look like it. Anything online? No.
Nothing at all.
On Twitter? No.
I think, he's going to walk. he's going to walk to the pre-season draft.
There is still time, though. So there's still time that he could just potentially walk. I'll just quickly listen to the radio.
Mm. Yeah.
So still no talk at the moment of the players, the other 3 players likely to move. My back, sorry. Yes, there's still no news on the other 3 being moved. They're just talking about like what they think of the trade period, blah blah blah. We already talked about that, so just listen to us because we're probably more truthful. Definitely not biased.
We're not gonna bullshit.
We're not gonna bullshit. But yeah, I think that's basically at the point now. 12 minutes to go. So yeah, three players still potentially could move. Zerk Thatcher looks like he's going to be going. If he doesn't get traded here, he will be moving to the some other way. He doesn't look like he wants to go back to the Bombers next year and re-sign. He still has a 3-year deal in front of him, but I think he'll move on and find his way to Port Adelaide in another avenue. Dersma is still signed at Port Adelaide, so he can't go unless he does what Cam McCarthy did 5 or 6 years ago and just refused to play. But I don't think he'll do that. I think he's happy at Port Adelaide. I think he was just kind of disappointed that Port Adelaide didn't have a midfield role for him. They only had a wingman role for him, which, I mean, let's be honest, he's not built for the midfield. I'm going to be honest with you. But who knows? Maybe he will be in the future. But at this stage, there's not a lot of movement on that front. And still Orazio Fantasia could be going to the Giants, which I think would be a very good pickup for them. But at this stage, that's all that has been mentioned. 11 minutes to go. Anything major? You think Nick Dacos is still going to be moving to North Melbourne, like I said?
Yeah.
It could be a close one. I think it's going to be a pretty close call, to be honest with you.
It's going to be interesting, this last 11 minutes.
Yeah, so that is still the last trade that's been done, guys. Hawthorn's 3-way trade with the Gold Coast and the Lions, which got Jack Gunston to the Lions, Brendan Ryan got to the Hawks. See, this is what happens when Jack Gunston leaves for like 11 months. You fucking keep on forgetting. Jack Gunston got to the Hawks, Brendan Ryan got to the Lions, and then Mabior Chol got to the Hawks as well. Idiot. Whatever. 32 minutes. Come on, there's got to be something. Anything. Oh, it's pinned. That's why. Why is that pinned? Oh, it's because it's got 45 minutes. Fucking whatever. Oh, and also D'Ambrosio. But like we said, we think that one's not going to go through. He'll just go through to delisted free agency.
Yeah.
Which is a bit funny, but
because Essendon fucked up.
Yeah.
Well, the paperwork's just been filed for Mabior Chol, so.
Just now.
As of 9 seconds ago. Ooh. Look like it's gonna get done.
Sorry?
Does it look like it's gonna get done?
Sorry. I forget that I'm streaming. I'm supposed to talk. At this stage, it does look like the Port Adelaide is still asking for a future second-round pick for Port Adelaide want that as for Dersma. So it looks like Brendan Zerk-Thatcher. It doesn't look like it's going to get done at this stage because they're not really chasing. It doesn't look like Essendon are willing to budge, to be honest. They want a straight player swap or a future fourth to go with it, but Port Adelaide want a future second. Which, I mean, is fair enough. I mean, he's still contracted. If he wasn't contracted, I think this would have been done by now. That's just my thoughts on it. We'll have to wait and see. I don't think that this one will get done, if I'm being honest, with 8 minutes to go.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No. Guys, you're supposed to tell me who you think wins the trade period. I think it's Sydney. That's definitely not because I'm biased. But I'm not biased. I think that's true, though.
Yeah. To be honest, it's been a pretty boring period, really.
Sorry?
You think it's been a pretty boring trade period?
Like I said from the beginning, it's been it's going to be a pretty boring trade period. That's why they started making up bullshit about fucking Clayton Oliver, and then they started about Tom Hawkins. All of that, and then it hasn't happened. And I think that's what we've kind of been seeing throughout the start of this trade period. They've tried to spur these different players going to different clubs, like we saw it right at the start with Clayton Oliver. Everything was spurred upon, like Clayton Oliver's, had a disciplinary meeting. He wants Melbourne are looking to ship him out the door.
Yeah.
Then 4 days later, which actually wasn't even that. I think it was like 2 days later.
Yeah, 2 days.
2 days later, that all of a sudden changed. He wasn't going. Shocker. Then they started on the train of Tom Hawkins. He hasn't signed yet. He hasn't signed for an extra year. He hasn't signed until 2025 because he's 35 years of age and he could potentially get injured in round one and his career could be over. That's why they haven't signed him. But he could still. But they're having some tough talks with him. And then all of a sudden, half a week later, it wasn't even that. It was a couple of days. I think it was the next day.
24 hours later.
24 hours later, Tom Hawkins re-signed with the Cats. So that talk went. And then they started on the talk of the West Coast Eagles with Jack Darling, Liam Duggan, and Elliot Yeo. All that talk about them leaving. Now, look, I agree that those three could have left because, it's West Coast and they could be looking to try and find some younger guys.
Like, look at that with Freo.
So, yeah, we've looked at this, like, they're kind of talking about Freo now. They've got key additions, which you pick 34 this year, and they've got 2 first-round picks for next year, a second-round pick for next year, and a fourth-round pick for next year. I think, like I mentioned in the podcast, they're stocking up on picks to try and go for Logan McDonald.
Yeah, well, I just think, yes, they need a key forward, but what are they going to accomplish next year?
Yeah.
If they use all these future picks for that, like what are they actually going to accomplish? Fremantle, they could be 5 years away for finals. The way they're going, their list.
Yeah, I don't think this is a very good trade period at all for Freo because. I mean, how many years have we seen Fremantle be irrelevant, not doing much? They make the finals in last year, but, they beat the Bulldogs, which was a good win, but then they didn't do much against Collingwood. And before that, they didn't make finals for, I think, 5 or 6 years. They've only made one grand final in their club history. There's not much to talk about. And like I said in the podcast as well, the Gold Coast and GWS are closer to a premiership than the Dockers.
Yeah.
So, how embarrassing would that be if these two clubs, who were, clubs that were only brought in 10 or 11 years ago, get a premiership before the Dockers? That would be really embarrassing. And, I mean, it's neck and neck between them and St Kilda, who's closer to a premiership. St Kilda have, like, the longest streak since the premiership won. So, there's still 5 minutes.
Yeah. They're still trying to sweeten the deal. Nothing. Yeah, they're trying to sweeten the deal for it, but it's just going to be last minute. So I think the Fantasia deal doesn't get done. Doesn't look like it.
But to be fair, I think he's going to get delisted. I think he's going to get delisted by Port, and he will get picked up in the draft in a rookie draft or a delisted free agency at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, at this stage we've got D'Ambrosio, Dersma, Zerk Thatcher, and Fantasia. Those are the 4 players right now who could potentially be moving in the next 5 minutes. But at this stage, nothing's being done.
Just watching them at their computers, trying to see if they can fix it.
The Gold Coast official just got up, so it's a bit surprising. So right now, 4 minutes to go, there was a Gold Coast official that got up, which is breaking news. They don't know if there's going to be a trade there. We'll have to see. They usually pan over to the cameras inside that room if there's a trade, but at this stage, not much.
Yeah. Got 180 seconds left. 100 and 200 seconds left.
Yeah, so with 3 minutes to go now, guys. There's 2 clubs inside the office.
They're packing up.
That looks like Port Adelaide packing up and ready to go. So it looks like Port Adelaide are packing up, so it looks like Zerk Thatcher won't be done.
Or they're just going to be...
Or they're doing like a bait and switch.
Yep. Looks like it's done. They think they might be done, but maybe. Josh Money means fuck all. Bugger all.
What do you say? Done. So
Yeah.
Josh Money is saying... Alright, so hang on, guys. Alright, so that's just the Gold Coast official talking to them. That doesn't matter. So at this stage, there is a reporter named Josh Money. He is saying that Zerk Thatcher to Port Dersman to the Bombers has been done. So that's news. There's no official news on the AFL deadline talk or whatever. So there's no one inside the room at this stage. There is still 2 minutes. How much officially? Officially, there is... Why the hell did that disappear? There is officially 2 minutes from now. So that may be the last deal.
Still nothing.
Still nothing.
Yeah.
So Port Adelaide are currently standing up in their room right now. Minute and 20 to go. Still nothing with the Port Adelaide stuff. They're still talking about it. There's a minute to go. So it does look like the Fantasia and D'Ambrosio won't get done. There is still a little bit of time left for Dersma and Zerk Thatcher to get done.
What will happen is it will be done, and the paperwork won't be lodged until...
Well, we would hear news if that does happen.
Come on.
So the detail is that it has been done. Zerk Thatcher and Dersma have been traded in and out. So Dersma will be playing the Bombers next year, and Zerk Thatcher will be playing for Port Adelaide. There's a couple of late picks that have been traded each way. We'll get some news in a second about what exactly has been done. But there are handshakes in the Port Adelaide room with an Essendon official, so that does seem to believe that Zerk Thatcher will be at Port Adelaide next year.
Yep. And...
So this got right down to the wire, but it has been done.
Yep.
As soon as you find it, just let me know and we'll talk about it. What's been the exact move. But yeah, basically, guys, Zerk Thatcher has moved to Port Adelaide. Dersma has moved to the Bombers. So that is the last trade. So like I said, Fantasia and D'Ambrosio have not been completed. We are expecting, though, that both of those players will be delisted. So I wouldn't be surprised. I think most likely that Fantasia will be at the Giants next year, and D'Ambrosio will definitely be at Hawthorn. He's going to be picked up as a delisted free agent.
So they have traded D'Ambrosio.
Oh, they did.
He went to Hawthorn. Essendon received pick 61 and a future 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it does look like the D'Ambrosio trade has been done as well. So a little bit surprised by that. I thought they would have just waited until it's delisted for agency. So yeah, looks like Massimo D'Ambrosio has been moved. He has gone for pick 61 and a future 4th. So he'll be at the Hawks next year. Bombers lose D'Ambrosio late, which I don't think is a big deal. I don't think he would have been in the best 22, but it's a good enough trade for him. At least he gets it all done. D'Ambrosio doesn't have to wait for the free agency period.
So, I think Essendon get Dersma, and Port Adelaide get Zerk Thatcher, pick 73, and 2 future 4th picks.
Okay, so they're basically just gone for points at this point.
Yeah, right.
So they haven't got so Port Adelaide didn't get their future 2nd. So it's a little bit surprising. I'm surprised Port just didn't hold strong.
No, because we was gonna. Yeah, no, yeah, right, yeah.
So they've got 3 picks basically, Port Adelaide, but they didn't get their 2nd round pick. I'm a little bit surprised they didn't actually hold for that, to be honest.
Surprised actually the D'Ambrosio one actually did get done.
Yeah, well, like we said, but yeah.
Because I thought they just would have been left it and he would have walked.
So we're just trying to get the confirmation of the last couple of trades just before we finish up the stream, guys. So here it is here. So basically, Zerk Thatcher, pick 73, and 2 future 4th round picks have been headed to Port Adelaide, and Essendon have just got Xavier Dersma. So it kind of seems like Port Adelaide sort of backed down because, I mean, that's just for points basically. At this point, they've picked up 3 picks for Port, so good in the end. I mean, they've got some points, but I still think Port Adelaide should have held for that 2nd round pick for Dersma or held him.
Well,
but at the end of the day,
Port Adelaide don't actually have a pick, do they? Or do they? Because before this, they never actually had a pick in the draft.
Where is the draft picks? Here we go. Yeah, so at the moment they didn't actually have a draft pick, which they needed to have.
I don't think they had any picks from the other 2 trades, did they?
No. So
yeah, so Port Adelaide had to get 1 pick.
So they've got pick 73.
Yeah, so
74. Sorry, 74.
The AFL, because
legally you have to have at least 1 draft pick before you.
So that's probably why they just left it.
Yeah.
And it said, yeah, we'll back off because, yeah, like we said, you need a pick in at least 1.
Yeah, what would have happened if they didn't have a pick? Because they couldn't trade to get one.
Well, obviously you can trade. Yeah, so.
I mean, they could have traded a future one, but yeah.
Yeah, so
that would have been interesting if Port didn't have a trade. They didn't have a pick. They'd have to trade future ones later.
They'd have to, because so obviously they're gonna just take that and just run.
Yeah. Basically, guys, that was it. The last couple of minutes, we had D'Ambrosio get to Hawthorn, Zerk Thatcher get to Port Adelaide, and Dersma get to the Bombers. So the only one that wasn't done was Fantasia. All the other trades, all the other players that did request a trade did move to their allocated clubs. Like I said, Fantasia didn't get done, but I think at the end of the day, he'll probably get delisted by Port Adelaide. He'll get picked up as a delisted free agent from the Giants or some other way, maybe even a rookie draft pick. But yeah, guys, that's basically all the moves we have for the trade period. In the next couple of weeks, or in the next week or so, me and my brother will be doing a couple of videos talking about the best 22 early on going into next year. We're talking about basically a official rating of every single club, how they went in the trade period. And yeah, that's basically all we have. The podcast, like I said, guys, is out on Spotify now. We have finally got it out. So if you haven't seen the podcast yet, it's episode 33. It's the latest one. It is on our YouTube channel. But if you guys listen to podcasts on Spotify, it's on there right now. When the official podcast for next week comes out, I'll be announcing that as well. But yeah, thanks for watching the stream, guys. Make sure to let us know if you're watching this after the stream finished who you think won the trade period. I think the Swans did 4 players in who most likely get in their best 22 next year, and only one player who went out, which was Dylan Stevens, who I don't believe would have been in their best 22. Also, think good contribution from good trade periods from West Coast, the Bulldogs, and Collingwood as well to an extent. I do think that losing Ginnivan was a little bit of a dampener on things, but end of the day, I also think that Fremantle had the worst trade period out of anyone, and probably Geelong was next up, but again, they didn't really do much, so you can't really say that much anyway. But yeah, if you had to give a quick winner and loser, who would you say?
I think winners are Sydney, pretty bloody obviously. I think the Eagles and I think the Bulldogs were winners.
Yeah.
I
don't know why you said that so surprising. That's exactly what I said.
Did it?
Yes. You weren't even listening.
I guess I wasn't really listening. Yeah, I think obviously the losers is Freo.
Yeah.
And Richmond.
Yeah.
I think Richmond 100. Yeah, I think there should be a lot more scrutiny on Richmond's trade period.
Yeah.
Because they didn't bring in anyone. Like, yes, the Kaczynski, I don't know. But he's not a good... I don't think he's established himself as a good AFL player. And he's gone to Richmond. So... Yeah.
Big calls here.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, thanks for watching today, guys. We'll be doing, of course, a podcast next week. Probably be coming out a little bit later because it will be the off-season podcast. We'll be doing a little bit more of other sports as well. Still talking about the footy, of course, but yeah, that's all from us, guys. So we'll be out with the podcast next week on Wednesday, probably, maybe Thursday. But thanks for watching. We'll catch you all next time.
See you later, guys.